What's up, Zero Tax Club? Welcome to Money is a Mind Game, the podcast committed to blowing the whistle on Wall Street's BS and increasing your financial IQ. So pull up a chair and have a seat at my table. Take out your notepad and a pen. I am your host, JP Tatum, the tax-free OG, and this is Tax-Free Tuesdays. Let's get it. All right, Zero Tax Club. Today's conversation is 401k. 401k. It's not enough. I'm just going to get started, okay? It's not enough to just have a 401k. I think that the bar for do I have a good employer and am I in a good job or whatnot is, do they have a 401k and okay, you get a match. That's not the standard, ladies and gentlemen. That's not the standard. Listen, I can help you save for retirement way more effectively, whether you have a 401k or not, with tremendous tax benefits, whether you have a 401k or not. So don't let your employer sucker you in because they have a 401k and a match. Who cares? If you have one, great, but don't let that be just the standard for if you're, doing well or not. Because if you have a position, again, if you're self-employed, what do all the self-employed people do? Some have no idea, but you can have a solo K. You could easily open an IRA, a SEP IRA, a simple IRA, if you are of an entrepreneurial nature, or you can do a PRA. Very straightforward. Out of everything I just named, a PRA and Roth are the best things you could possibly do. The only people that would actually benefit, I would say, from doing a 401k, even if it was just a solo K meaning an individual 401k, your 401k, not your company's. And yes, you can have both. But the people that benefit from having 401ks, or I should say from the contribution of a 401k, contribution meaning the money you put into it. The reason why the lie that you're sold, is it a lie that I want to call it? It's a scam, guys. It's just a scam. Here, I'm going to break down the 401k from my perspective. All right. Take what you want. But hopefully you'll think about what I'm saying and go, dang, that makes sense. That's really all that's going to come out of this is like, dang, I never thought about it like that. And if any questions come up for you, ask them. Put them in the comments. Email them to me. I love educating. And I'm so passionate about this. And just to give you some background for those of you who don't know, this is my world, all right? Retirement accounts, qualified accounts, non-qualified accounts, that is my world. I study this. I knows this, okay? I know knows is not a word for you people out there with your masters. But listen, I'm not telling you about something that I just read in a book. I was tested on this. I work around this, done this over 1,000 times. Gonna be doing this forever because I love it. But what I am committed to is making sure you have the education behind what you're doing and why you're doing it. And I want you to ask yourself why you're doing it. I do not want you to hear this as a, screw 401ks. I'm not going to save in a 401k because it's a scam, but now I'm just going to trick off my money. That is not what I'm saying. I am just saying instead of putting the money in a 401k, what if there were better places to put the money for the long term? That's still for retirement, but that gets you a lot better, gives you a lot better outcome. Okay. So let me go back to what I came here to talk about, which is let's start with the 401k. So it's a scam. How is it a scam? Okay. Well, listen, your company, let me tell you how they work. Your company offers you a 401k. Some of them are kind enough to offer you a match. They offer you a match because a certain amount of you have to participate in order for them to keep the 401k alive and well. Also, they have to stress test it. They have a stress test every year to make sure that not only high income people are the ones contributing. And this goes back to what I was referencing before. People that make a significant income tend to benefit more from a 401k from a tax perspective up front. In other words, if I make $60,000 a year and I put in $10,000, it now looks like I only made $50,000 for the year. So that's a benefit to me, especially if that lowers my tax liability for the year. Do you see? So Can you understand why I say it's not necessarily a huge benefit to someone who maybe isn't making that much or isn't even contributing that much? Most of you are contributing the match, if that. And I want to be abundantly clear. The match is not the max. Okay? The maximum contribution that you can put into a 401k, meaning the most money you can put into your 401k for the year of 2019, is $19,000. To figure out what percentage that would need to be, you would take your income and divide it by 19,000. So I did 19,000, I divided it by 50,000, and that comes out to 0.38. So for this person who makes $50,000 to hit 19,000 by the end of the year, they would have to contribute 38% per paycheck for the whole year. 38%. Okay. The other thing would be then, or the good news for that person who makes 50,000 but put 19,000 away, is that it looks like they only made 31,000 that year. So they would only initially be paying taxes on 31,000, and that's before any of the other deductions that, you know, people tend to get if they have kids and things of this nature. Okay? So that's a plus, because on top of the 19,000 they put in, maybe their employer put in another $5,000. So for the year, you know, they did pretty well. They saved $24,000 total. 19,000 from them, $5,000 from the employer. Great way to save, and it helps you lower your taxable income. So again, higher income earners, the ones making six figures or close to, and are paying a huge amount in taxes because they may not have children, or they may not have as many deductions. They're more advocates, right? They'll be higher. There's a high probability that they will save the maximum in the 401k to lower their tax liability. And that makes sense. Now, the rest of us, again, are pretty much saving the match, if that. But I just wanted to dispel the myth that the match is the max. And a lot of people have told me over the years, like, I've been maxing this thing out. And I said, really? And they go, yeah, I've been saving the full 5%. And then some people think that 10% is the most you can put in. That's also not true. That's also not true. So there isn't necessarily a maximum percentage, ladies and gentlemen. There's just a maximum dollar amount. Okay. Good. Got that out. So the match is not the max. The other part I want to talk about when it comes to the match is understanding it. Now, there's a certain thing called the match formula. Are you receiving dollar for dollar up to 5%, which means for every dollar you put in, they put in $1? Or are you getting 25 cents on the dollar? So for every dollar you put in, they put in a quarter, up to 6%. These are important things to understand so that you aren't walking around thinking that you're getting 100% match when you aren't. Might throw off your calculations if you're doing any. Second thing is to take into consideration when it comes to a match. What's the vesting schedule? Write that down. Vesting schedule. VESTING. You want to know what your company's vesting schedule is, because that vesting is about what you get to keep. So here's what I mean by that. Some people have companies, or work for companies rather, who say, hey, we'll give you dollar for dollar up to 8%. But the way that it's vested is over 4 years. So in other words, that means every year that you're with the company, 25% of what they gave you for that match, it gets to be yours officially. Like it's concrete yours now. Which means you're getting the full percent every year that you're there? Absolutely. But if you leave before you are fully vested, whatever portion has not vested stays with them. You get to keep what you get to keep. You get to keep everything you put in, yes. But any of the match money that went in there will stay with that company if you leave before the vesting period is up. Okay? Now, some companies, they tell you you're 100% vested the moment you put the money in. That's really cool. If I get dollar for dollar up to 5% and I'm 100% vested, that means the day they put my match in, it's mine. I can quit tomorrow and I get to keep all of it. That's what that means. So a vesting schedule, understanding your vesting schedule is critical when you consider your match. The match sometimes can sound glorious or it can be very confusing. I've seen match descriptions for 401k plans worded all kind of quirky ways, 25 cents on the dollar up to, but not a maximum of, and any one of you who's actually looked at your plan has probably seen some of the language that I'm using so you can identify with what I'm saying. For those of you that haven't, it's a quick look. What's our vesting schedule? Or if you're starting a new role and they're talking about benefits, ask the question, hey, what's the vesting schedule? Oh, you're 100% vested. Perfect. That means the minute that they give you that match money in your 401k, it's yours. You can leave the next day, still stays yours. If they say, oh, our vesting schedule is over 5 years, then you need to know, okay, after year 1, I get to keep how much? After year 2, a little bit more. After year 3, so on and so forth. So it's important to understand that. Again, the match, dollar for dollar, up to means I get $1 for every dollar I put in. Some of them are 25 cents on the dollar. Some of them are 15 cents on the dollar. So you just have to know what your match formula is. Okay. So that's that. Contribution limit, I already talked about that. The most you can put in is $19,000. So figure out what that is for you. If you want to put 19 grand away every year, so be it. If you have a goal with your partner or yourself that, hey, I want to do 5 grand a year, same formula, just again, take 5,000 and divide it by whatever you make. In this case, we've been using 50,000. That means that you need to save 10% per paycheck. That's it. Don't make the mistake that a lot of people make of thinking that, oh, if I'm doing 5 and they're doing 5, isn't that 10? No, it's not. It's not. You're doing 5 and then they're putting in 5. That extra 5 has to come from you. So you don't get to deduct that extra 5 that they put in. So you have to do 10. You do 10 plus their 5. That is a lot better than you settling for, well, I put 5 in, they put 5 in, so that we're good. No, you're not. I guarantee you, if I took you through my analysis, you still wouldn't be on track and you'd be convinced, well, I've been saving 10% for 10 years. You're bad. Don't do that. I can't tell you how many conversations I have with people who do make a significant amount of money and they believe with their whole hearts that, hey, I'm on track. I must be because I've been saving 20%. No, you haven't. I mean, total, sure, in some way, but I'm saying that in addition to what you're receiving from your company, you personally need to be saving 15%, just to get to maintaining your standard of living. Because guys, remember, the whole purpose of the 401k, the whole purpose of the thing is so that you can make a pension for yourself. Back in the day, companies used to, after you did your time, I call it the 40-40 plan. You work 40 hours a week for 40 years. Some of them gave you a gold watch and a good day. Some of them said, okay, well, we'll take care of you for the rest of your life. But the thing is, life expectancy back then was like 62, 55. It was young, very young. And now we live till forever. So here's the problem. What do you think started to happen? Companies can't afford that. So then 401k was created so that they could put the onus back on you. Hey, we'll give you some money, but we're not going to just take care of you. And then Medicare and all of that too. Social Security, all of these programs were created to be like assistance, not actual pensions for you to live off of, but that's what it's become. Retirement doesn't necessarily mean you do nothing. I mean, my specific version or meaning for retirement is, you want to be able to do what you want, when you want, with who you want. Some people have it all mixed up. If you say the word retirement, they're like, I don't think I'll ever retire. Look, tell yourself whatever you want. All I'm saying is, can you do what you want when you want, period. You can, if that means you want to work, fine. Well, some people tell themselves that story. I'm going to work because I feel like when you don't work, then you die. It's like, okay, well, whatever helps you sleep at night. The point is you didn't save enough, so now you have to. So I hope that you like it because that's what you got to do. And are there some people out there who literally work because that's just what they love? Sure. Sure. But I tell you what, underneath all of that, some of them, most of them, not the outliers, but most of them, they have some savings, but they know that if they just lived off of those savings, if they traveled as much as they may have wanted to or want to, they would run out of money faster. Or they're terrified that if they get sick, they're going to need the majority of that money. Or they want to be able to leave a legacy for their family, and so they don't want to spend all the money while they're alive. And then there's others, again, total opposite. Like, I'm spending it all. I don't care. They can figure it out. So I'm not here to say what's right or wrong or indifferent. I just want you to be clear that the 401k's purpose is to be a pension, is to create an annuity for yourself. So when you're putting money in your 401k, it's not for the employer, it's for you. If you don't do it, then you're basically saying, I hope that the government can take care of me. I hope my family will take me in. I hope I don't live long enough, I guess, to have to see it. Like, you have some secret wish that you think, man, I don't know if it's subconscious or what. But you have to utilize some tool to prepare for the long term. Oftentimes, the younger we are, the more invincible we feel. So we feel like, you know what, when I make more money, then I'll start saving. Tell me how that makes any sense to you. Trust me when I tell you, you're probably doing well. And what I mean by that is you don't have any responsibility, hardly anyhow. The more money you make, eventually you're going to need a nicer car. And by nicer, I could just be meaning more reliable, which automatically means it costs more than probably what you have, if you have one. Oh, then you might get into a relationship and, oh boy, there's a child. Tell me how you see more money coming into the picture or more opportunities for you to save as you continue to live your beautiful life. It's not very realistic. You more than likely have more money to save while you're younger than you do when you're older. The thing is, it just doesn't feel like it because you want to be able to still have fun and do what you want to do. I'm an advocate for doing both. I don't live a this or that life. I live a this and that life. I'm clear that saving for my future is just as important as having fun today. So I do both. But one does take priority over the other, and my future takes way more priority over my present urge to, I don't know, go to some music festival or miss Cardi B or see a Drake concert. Like, they're getting paid. I think that a lot of the younger people could serve you if just changed your mindset and said, okay, I'm paying them to entertain me. That's cool. But they got paid for showing up and you paid to show up. Everything is business, guys. Everything is a number. I don't care what experience you wrap around it. Sometimes when you're in the savings phase of life, you need to put a level head on your shoulders. You need to cut all the crap out. And maybe that's just for a period of time, but it's better to do it during that period of time. I missed out on a ton of things in my 20s. And I don't even feel like I missed out because I'm great relative to my counterparts or those same people who are doing great things then. Bless them. But nothing changed. I didn't miss anything. I can do more things now than I could then because I was disciplined. So that's all I'm saying. Saving in your 401k or a PRA or an IRA, these are just disciplines that you need to adapt, if nothing else, so that you can prove to yourself that you can save and that you have something in the future when the mess hits the fan. So anyway, contribution limit is $19,000 for the year 2019. Set a goal, pick a number, figure out what that percentage is, and save that amount. End of discussion. Do not touch your 401k. It is not your emergency fund. Build a damn emergency fund separate from the 401k and call it your reserves. I don't like the word emergency fund because I just don't, but I like reserves. So I use that word a lot. So when you hear me say reserves, that's what I mean, just extra cash, because companies have reserves. There's one thing you should understand, people. Companies make money, people get taxed. Companies make money, people get taxed. So if I were you and I didn't have a huge income, I would be looking at creating some sort of business as a sole proprietor or with an LLC, so that I can get a lot of tax breaks off the top. That's what I want. I want tax breaks. And if I don't want to be putting my money in a 401k for those tax breaks, because listen, all 401ks are not created equal. I want you to hear me. Some 401ks are crappy. Now, here are the fees associated with 401ks. You have a bookkeeping fee. You have a record keeping fee, not to mention all the fees in the mutual funds. Okay. And then they pass that cost on to you, and some of those maybe the employer eats. But if you don't know what you're doing or why you're doing it, how would you know? Right? How would you know? Do you even look at your statements? You know how many people say, I don't even look at it. I was just in a car today with a gentleman who said he has no idea. I said, well, what sense does that make? You're putting money away. You work really hard, don't you? He said, yeah. I said, so you're putting your money away into something you don't know how you're invested? It's just a lot of confusing. Seems like a lot of stuff to look at. And I'm not going to say I don't have time, but it's just, I'm not interested in that. I said, well, why saving it at all? Why not seek alternatives then? Because is this for your future? Like, well, why do you do it? He was like, well, say that you're supposed to do that. And they give you the match. I like the match. That's cool. And he says he also takes money out every 3 months. But he feels good about that because he pays himself back in interest. Let me explain something to you. You're going to pay taxes twice. You do know that, right? You take the 401k loan out, and then you pay it back with interest. You're paying it back with after-tax dollars, folks. Then, later on, when you go to take it out to live on, you're going to pay taxes again. So you just paid taxes twice. Not to mention the whole time, whatever that lump sum amount is that you took out, it's not like you took it out to invest. You took it out for something that you spent it on. So it didn't make any money. You're not making any money. I'm so okay if you tell me, hey, I took out 10 grand and I bought a rental property. And now that property, I'm getting a 15-20% return on plus monthly cash flow. I'm only paying 4% on the loan. So boom, I'm like, yo, genius. That's what wealthy people do. We borrow money to invest. We don't borrow money to spend or borrow money to pay off credit cards that we're only going to use again. I get it. Sometimes we get into jams. We make mistakes. But if that becomes your way of being, you're like always taking money out of your 401k to pay off a credit card when you've gone too far, that's ridiculous, period. And you need to stop. You need to just cut them the hell up and just knock it off. That's ridiculous. Save up. Get yourself into the discipline of actually putting money in your savings. I don't care if you have to put it in an online savings to where you would have to transfer the money to yourself just to get your hands on it. And by then you figured out a different solution. Maybe that's what you got to do. Maybe you need to hide the account from your purview when you log in so that you don't see it. But saving is not hard. And the more people give you that excuse that it's okay. Saving's hard. It's not freaking hard. It's not. How bad do you want it? Like any damn thing else. Anyway. So 401ks. We went over the fees, bookkeeping fee, record keeping fee, all the fees in the mutual funds. Oh, I was talking about how they work. Okay, so with the 401k, your employer hires usually a third party to go out and, discover all the funds there are to have, and then says, okay, out of all the funds available, these, I'm going to just say 10. It's usually a little more than that, but let's go with it. So they're going to say, look, these are the 10 that you should offer your employees. The employer says, okay, and then voila, you have a 401k plan. Very oversimplified example, but that's the gist of it. So then you, the new employee, come in and we're like, hey, we have a 401k and we do a match. And you're fully vested day one. And you're like, okay, great. And they're like, yeah, but I can't give you any help on what to pick. All I could tell you is we match 6% dollar for dollar. And we have wonderful options. I personally have no idea what they are, but we're not allowed to help you with that. So just do the best you can. So you got some people that are going to sit there and go through every fund and have no idea what they're looking at and they'll never make a decision. You have some people that'll just put 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 in everything until they equal 100 because the damn thing won't let them go to the next slide if if it doesn't hit 100. And then you have some people who are just going to be like, yeah, put me in whatever the default is and let's go from there. And the challenge is some companies will default you into a target fund, which is fine if you have no idea what else to do. That's perfectly fine. The way a target fund works is it just is based on the year in which on or around you'll turn 65. So it's more aggressive now, and it'll over time automatically get more conservative as you get closer to the age 65. So it looks like it's one thing, but it's really like a fund of many, many funds. So you don't have to do anything with that. That's still better as a default option than a freaking one of those government funds, because it's just cash. Or if it says money market something, your money is basically sitting in cash. So if you're looking at it going, why isn't this thing growing? It's because it's in freaking cash. It's practically in cash. It's in government, municipal bonds, or freaking treasury notes or something like that, where you're getting pennies. So not worth it, really. You're not making any money, hardly. But, for those people who say things like, yeah, but I can't lose. Well, okay, but you're not winning because you're losing purchasing power every year. Listen, guys, there's risk to investing. There's risk to not investing. You just got to figure out what's the best for me. Now, the best of all of these account types I'm talking about, 401k, IRA, is going to be the PRA. I mean, you need a PRA. At least with the PRA, I know I'm putting in a set dollar amount every paycheck or every month, whatever you decide. And I only get gains when the market's up. I never lose. If the market is negative, my worst case scenario is I don't make any money, but I don't lose any either. But if the market's up 30%, maybe I'm only up like 15. I'm okay with that. I never lose. I'm capped at like 15. That's still double digit returns with none of the risk. Are you kidding me? Oh, and I'm guaranteed an income for the rest of my life, no matter what. And I know exactly what that amount is going to be. Holy cow. Say what now? Where do I get one of those? What the heck? Why don't I know about this? This vehicle is called the Rich Man's Roth. Oh, by the way, there aren't any limits either. 401k contribution limit. Oh boy, 19 grand. Do I get a match? Sure. Maybe, maybe not. Right? That's 401k. Rich Man's Roth, no limit. If you make a significant amount of money, you can contribute. If you don't make a significant amount of money, you can still contribute. Okay? One over here, my 401k on my left, I'm putting this money in. I'll be doing this for the next 30, 40 years. I have no idea how that's going to come, what that's going to amount to in income for me when I retire. On the right side, I have my PRA, and I know exactly how much money I'm going to have at whatever the age is we talk about, and that's going to be tax-free and last for the rest of my life. So back to the 401k, even if I did save a good amount, I have no idea what taxes are going to be by the time I'm freaking 65. Imagine that. You're 25, you're 28, you're 30, you're 40. Still, none of us has any idea about what taxes are going to be when, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, or 40 years from now. We just don't. So why would I put my money in something that is so risky? I don't understand. I have no idea what tax rates are going to be, but I'm going to keep putting my money in this thing because I think I'm supposed to. That's wise. But the match, no, listen, why you're stuck there is because that's what people keep telling you to do. That's what CNBC says to do. Your employer says, your nana, your old grandfather, any and everyone who is someone has always said, no, you got to use the 401k. It has its place. So in all my, about it, it does have a place, but it isn't the only place, and it shouldn't be the primary place. It should be like my primary way of saving for my retirement is right here in my PRA. I use the 401k to lower my taxable income today, but there are so many other ways you can do that without using the company 401k. If you don't want to use your own 401k, if you're a real estate investor, you should just have a solo K off the bat. You don't need a company 401k. If you're at an employer and you're part-time, you can open up an IRA. I would say a Roth if you're young. Why? Because the Roth, the way it works is you put the money in, it grows tax-free, and you take it out tax-free. End of discussion. And I'll make a podcast all about the Roth and the traditional. This one is about 401ks versus PRAs and why one's, better than the other. Just straight like that. The PRA is 150 times better than the 401k, but the 401k is beat into us like that's what there is to do. And that's okay. So the other part of this podcast is because if you're going to stick to a 401k, you should at least know how it works, what you're doing, why you're doing it, when you're vested, what your match is, how much you're actually saving, and if you're actually receiving the benefits that you deserve from a tax perspective, and how to monitor it. What the heck am I invested in? And why? I don't know. That's what they chose. Not good enough. If you don't have any clue about what you're doing, please, at a minimum, figure out what the target fund is. Some of them call it life cycle funds. Figure out what your target fund in year is. So the year, so if it says 2050, if it says ABC Company 2050 Freedom Fund or something like that, that just means that this fund is going to be more aggressive in our current year. Think about it. We're in 2019. And it's going to get more conservative the closer we get to 2050. Now, for my seasoned people listening, here's the trap. Sometimes we don't save as much as we wish we would have. Now we're saving a little bit more. We're getting closer to retirement. So we are tempted to make our portfolios a little bit more risky because we want to capture as much growth as we possibly can before we decide to retire. Well, that's a mistake. It's a common one. So I'm telling you now, don't go picking a 2050 mutual fund if you're already 50 and you plan to retire in 10 years. That doesn't make any sense. And all you're going to do is put yourself in a situation that says, hey, we'll see. And you hope that by the time the date of retirement comes for you, that you will still have what you think or more than what you expect. But you're putting more money at risk unnecessarily than just picking a fund that's a 2040 fund or 2030, to give yourself the appropriate amount of risk for your age. Okay. So if you're a seasoned vet in this business, you've been working, you got started a little late, and you're trying to make up for lost time, don't do it that way. If you're really that concerned, you just need to call because it can still be done. I can show you how to just not use the 401k at all, use the PRA, and get yourself a guaranteed income. Because what is retirement? Retirement equals income. That's it. Retirement is all about income replacement. That's all that it is. It's a freaking pension. You're building your pension so that when you decide I'm good, I don't want to work, I don't want to do anything except what I want every day, you can. But you guys keep dipping in a cookie jar or thinking that you have the option to save or not save. Or you put it like last on the list because it feels like it's so far away that you'll be able to make up. Let me tell you, the younger you are, the better. You can get away with putting in 5 or 6% and probably never have to increase it over your working life. Because why? You started early. But what happens if you start at 5 or 6% and then you stop and then you try to catch up later in your 40s? So guess what? That 5 or 6 is now 20. Now you have to save 20% per paycheck. And guess what? The price of everything has gone up over the time that you've not been saving. So that hurts. That you needed that extra 20% just to maintain your standard of living now while you're still working. And retirement is a scam too, because the way that they teach it to you all is, hey, work and save so that you can hopefully live on less money when you need it the most. And you're going to pay more taxes when you can least afford it. Like, anybody ever question that? Why do you give me so many tax breaks while I'm working? Where do the tax breaks go when I'm retired? Now I'm not working. What the hell? How does that make any sense? And that's on you, because if you don't seek out the information by listening to this podcast, working with me or my team or people that are like me, then you're at the effect. You're at the effect. You get left like, say what now and how and what? That's not fair. All of that. Well, you don't get to say that, right? If you're listening to this, you no longer get to plead ignorance. Well, nobody ever told me. Well, I'm telling you. That's my mission. That's why I'm here. That's why I created this, because money is a mind game. It is. Because someone's mind right now listening to this is like, damn, okay, I need to make a shift. I need to do something different. And then someone else's mind is like, yeah, but, and that'll be the person later complaining about why they're not on track. Tell me all their sad stories about what happened, why they can't save, whatever. That's good. I feel for all of the stories because I get it. I've been there before. It's just not an excuse to not get back on track. You fell off. Okay, get up. Let's go. You're working through something. Great. But your 401k is not a piggy bank, and it's not even the most effective way to save for retirement. It's a way, but it's not the best way. The best way to save for retirement is through a PRA. Period. That's my opinion. And I have the facts to back it up. If you can show me why your 401k is better, I'll give you a balloon. I mean, it's just that simple. I know this account type. I know how it works inside and out. I don't think there's anything that anybody could tell me about why it's better than a PRA on any level. Because income, it doesn't beat you there. Tax-wise, it doesn't beat you there. The only benefit you get from it is if you're saving enough in it that it lowers your taxable income to a point that actually serves you in the moment. But long term, not a chance. And that's what I'm talking about. What's your long game? What is your long game? So think about it. If you're going to keep your 401k, and again, you should. You're getting started, use your 401k wisely. You put in at least the match. The match is the minimum you should save, not the max, but the minimum. So if your company matches 5%, put in the full damn 5, okay? But that doesn't mean you have to stop there. You could do 10, you could do 20 if you want. But I wouldn't do more than the match, and I would find out how to put the difference. So let's say you were able to save 15%. I would put 5 in my 401k so I could get the match, and I would put the other 10% in a PRA. That's it. And now I have 2 things working for me. Remember the 3 taxable buckets, or the 3 buckets of money. I forgot, not taxable buckets, but it's taxable, tax deferred, and tax free. Write that down. There's 3 buckets: taxable, tax deferred, and tax free. And we'll talk about that on the next podcast in depth. But anyways, with my formula I just set up for you, the 401k is your tax deferred bucket because it's money you put in that you don't pay taxes on today, but you pay taxes later. That's what tax deferred means. It means I'm deferring. I'll pay it later. And then the PRA is money you're putting in and you get to pull out tax free. It's just tax free, straight like that. So those would be my recommendations. But hopefully after today's message, you understand more about your 401k. It's there to be a pension. Retirement is all about income replacement. You're hoping you save enough. You're expected to save enough to maintain your standard of living for the next 30 years or whatnot. Remember, the earlier you retire, the more you need to save because you're going to be alive for a lot longer and you're going to spend money for a lot longer. Think about that. Some of us plan like, I want to retire early. Great. Are you saving to retire early? Well, no. Okay, then. Let's just throw that out the window. It's not going to happen. What, are you going to play the lotto? Good luck. I mean, that's some people's real retirement plan. I'm just going to play the lotto. That's fine. whatever makes you happy. But from a savings perspective, you can't sit here and tell me you're going to retire early when you don't save like someone who wants to really retire early. That takes something. People that do get to retire early, they worked really hard. They saved a lot, or they had a great idea. They created a business, something like that, right? And stop looking at your job like it's your enemy. Be grateful. That job that's paying you that decent amount of money is going to pay you to create your life, the life of your dreams, your business. It's way smarter to earn while you learn, guys. You can be working in an industry that you want to create a business in, learn it from the inside out, create a whole business, take the money that they're paying you, be a top performer, take the bonuses, allocate it towards your dream, your vision, put it right back into your business, build your business to a point where you don't need the job. Go ahead and transition into being a business owner, thrive, and then set up a new exit strategy. Okay, now I have my own business. What's my strategy now? Because I don't want to be like running this business myself forever. I didn't want to buy myself a job, so now that I have my own business, I'm up and running, I'm profitable. Is my goal to sell the business, to get it to maximum, I missed the word, sorry. But to get it running up and running smoothly, excuse me, and then sell it for a profit. Is that my goal? Is my goal to replace myself? Am I in a business where I can teach others how to do what I do, step down, still own the business, but not be the CEO, have someone else run the business? So I'm still getting paid, but hey, I don't have to deal with the day-to-day anymore. Do I want to take all the money I make from everything I'm doing at my job, save as much as I possibly can, and then turn around and start buying cash flowing properties so that my passive income is coming in like crazy? Now I've replaced my income at work. I don't have to do that. I can go find more deals. Maybe I start raising money from my friends and family and whoever to do bigger deals. And so I just become a full-time active investor. Like, what is your vision? You have one. I know you do. But stop looking at that job like it's so evil, like it's, taking something away from you, because the reality is you need it. And if you can change your mindset into being excited, man, I get to come to this place. Not I have to, but I get to come to this place. They're paying me so that I can fund my vision, so that I can fund my dreams. I think people get into credit card debt and start living beyond their means for these experiences to feel like they're getting somewhere in life. I got to drive this car. It makes me feel good. People will give me acknowledgement. I got to go on this vacation because I want to. I know I really can't afford it, but it feels good to be able to do it. I work hard. I should be able to do this. Listen, you should be, but not like that if you can avoid it. You got to think long term, guys. Delayed gratification. If you research the wealthiest people in the world, you will learn that there is a theme: delayed gratification. Not microwave popcorn mentality like, well, I've been here 3 days in a row, I deserve an off day. What the hell? So check yourself, man. Check yourself. The 401k is a brilliant thing if you're absolutely going to do nothing else in life. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, that came out wrong. But if your plan is like, hey, I love what I do, I'm going to work at this company forever, that's great. I love that. And you love it. You want to support them and whatever, so you use your 401k, great. All I'm talking about is how do you create a strategy that makes sense. If you want to live like everyone else and keep doing what they're doing, so if all you want to do is just do your 401k, put your head down, pretend you know what you're doing, ignore the facts, fine. I would rather you do that than do nothing. So hear me clearly. I would rather you max out your 401k every year, become a 401k millionaire, all of that, than do nothing to prepare. You can do, you know what? For those of you listening who are already there, I can still help you. And that's a fact. From a tax perspective, congratulations on saving that much in a tax deferred bucket, but you're in for a rude awakening. And your CPA, fellas, ladies, CPAs are not here. They cannot tell you what investment vehicles to use. They don't even know about all of them. Some do, really, really good ones for sure. They can help you with certain things. But generally speaking, no. Your CPA can tell you what files to form, things of that nature. But when it comes to How do I invest in such a way? What account types help me invest in such a way that I will not have a huge, if at all, tax liability? And there are options out there. But you aren't even asking yourself the question because you're busy doing what they say you should do, which is put it in the 401k, hope for the best, try to hit $1 million. For what? $1 million for somebody who makes 30 grand a year might be a great thing. Like, wow, they'll live off the interest or whatever their little strategy is, stay in the market forever, hope for the best, things of this nature. That's old retirement planning. You don't have to do that anymore, guys. That is some outdated shit. That's not the way it goes. So we're in 2019 and we're still preaching and teaching advice to you guys, or I should say they are, these criminals called financial advisors. They're still saying this stuff to you because that's what they were told from people from 50 years ago. So I hope that the message was clear. 401ks, they have their place. But there are much better options out here than that. Period. That will give you certainty, which is something most advisors will not say they can give you. Well, there's risk in anything, so, you just got to diversify, hope for the best. No. That doesn't have to be the case. And what's cooler is what I'm talking about as far as PRAs, they're not tied to your employer. They're not tied to your employer. So whether you have a 401k, don't have a 401k, you have a 401k, but they have really crappy funds that you just don't believe in. Because some of you, believe it or not, listening, do your research and you know what funds they have and you read about the expense ratios and the top 10 holdings and you know about what they have. You've done more homework than the most, but you still don't have a choice. You still have to pick out of there, or you're going to go do something else. This would be that something else. You need a PRA. 401k is old. It's outdated. The man who created them, Mr. Benna, he even said, I've created a monster, because they're not even doing what they were designed to do back in the day. Like any and everything else, it takes on a life of its own. Start manipulating it, finding other ways to manipulate it, and it hurts the people who are uneducated all the time. And we still think it's in our best interest because that's what we were told when we were kids by our parents. And now we're still doing the same crap that doesn't even freaking work. And I'll be darned if I have you guys listening and telling your kids to do freaking 401ks. For what? For what? But if you're not going to do anything else, you refuse to raise your financial intelligence, you really don't care that much, and you just are that type of person, then 401k is still better than nothing. But if you think the 401k is good, which I do, I think it's good. But I don't know about you. I don't settle for good. How you do anything is how you do everything. And I'm not average. I'm allergic to average. So I want what's best. And especially if you have a family, you need what's best for your family. It's not about you all the time. So anyways, that's all I'm going to say about all of that for today. Thank you for listening. Money is a mind game. Again, you can catch me. Again, subscribe to my website, tatumfinancial.com, so you can get more information, tips, tricks. You can always email me, JP, the letters J, letters P, at tatumfinancial.com. Happy to have a discussion. Email me any questions, comments, concerns. I'm happy to answer them or address them. The more interactive this is, the better for me, because I can actually touch on things that you, the listeners, are wanting to know. And I'll give you my take and perspective on it all day long. Money is a mind game. Have a good one.